Hey guys, here for another podcast of Casket Conversations. We are on episode 9. And this is going to be a little bit of a shorter one. I've only got 4 topics that I want to talk about as far as movie related things. But before I start, I do want to talk about the channel a little bit. I will put a time code down in the description if you want to skip all of the stuff about the channel. But I would ask that you please listen because, I just want to. It's Thanksgiving night or Friday morning. It's like 2:13 a.m. I had a great Thanksgiving. It's really great. The family came over and everybody was together, and just the whole idea. The food was great. Company was great. But I wanted to make this before I went to bed because there was a lot of stuff kind of swirling around in my head. But with it being Thanksgiving, and the new way of shopping, most of Black Friday actually starts on Thanksgiving night, and tonight my dad and I went to Walmart, and I got some new Blu-rays, which was cool. They had some good deals. I got Mad Max Fury Road, and I got Batman v Superman, the Ultimate Edition, and I also got the Poltergeist remake, which I actually really enjoy. I'm pretty picky when it comes to horror movies, and the original first Poltergeist movie I absolutely adore. I mean, Craig T. Nelson and everybody in that movie, it's such a classic. But the remake was just as good, I think. It's one of those things where it's kind of like Let Me In and Let the Right One In. It's like I love both versions of it equally. And so when I saw that they had it, I was like, ooh, I gotta have that. So yeah, but to talk about the channel a little bit, I am trying to figure out a lot of things of what I want to do with the channel and where I want it to go. I really want to build a team, as much as that, I'm always going to keep, Coffin Builder 89 for me and my personal stuff, and I will keep doing what I'm doing now, but I'm moving into a phase of my life where over the course of next year, because what I'm talking about probably you won't see actually on YouTube any bit of this until next year sometime if everything works out the way I want it to. So don't feel like anything is going to change right away. For now, it's still going to be me on here doing what I can when I can. I'm trying to get out of the mentality of worrying about quality and just making sure I upload. But me, I'm a stickler for wanting things to look good, and some of that I can't do all the time. So as I said in the last few things that I've posted, I am still going to be doing my Doctor Strange review and my full review for Arrival, which, excuse me, food coming back up. I had some popcorn a few minutes ago, so sorry about that. So those are still some things that that I'm planning on doing and uploading, but I want this channel to stay casual and where I can be myself. I don't want to necessarily go 100% professional on this. I want things to look nice. I want them to be something that people enjoy watching, but I don't want to lose myself on what I'm trying to create, and a lot of people don't get it, I feel like, because with I created my username a long time ago, for me at least, where I've talked about this before, but I'm going to talk about it again. Maybe some newcomers will hear this that don't know this, but Coffin Builder the 89 part is just my birth year. I was born in 1989, so now you know my age. So that's all the 89 is. There's no relevance other than that. It was just a number that I tagged on to Coffin Builder, and Coffin Builder is the name of a song by my favorite band, Demon Hunter. It's a song off of their second album, Summer of Darkness, and the song lyrics is something that really resonated with me. But more than that, not a lot of their songs were, as far as the albums that were out at that point, none of their songs would make good usernames. There was only like a handful of them. And Coffin Builder just kind of rolls off the tongue, and I thought it would make a cool username, and it was my way to show my fanship of the band, and thus Coffin Builder 89 was made. And but now, all these years later, I'm finding out that having a name like that, that's so, I don't know what the right wording would be, but it describes something so specific that it's almost a running joke at this point about how it's almost a running joke as far as how many people ask me if I actually build coffins. It's just one of those things. And it's not that it annoys me or it bothers me. It's actually kind of funny at this point, but I think maybe that will convey what I'm trying to say. At this point, this name is, not something that I feel that I can push to the levels that I want to push. And so at some point, I do want to create a new channel. And like I said, and I would love to have some other people doing it with me, like a team, that are just as passionate about movies and entertainment. It would be cool, just for now, just to have two other people, a three amigos kind of thing. I think would be really fun and really cool to have. Also, so that's kind of the main thing. The other side thing that I will say is my Casket Conversations things, and I can't remember whether I said this on the first episode or not, or at the very beginning when I started this, but I'm going to be doing Casket Conversations sort of kind of in seasons, but they're not seasons. You're never going to see like Casket Conversations Season 1, Episode 1, or anything like that. But what I'm going to do so that you could find each of the any of these episodes easier is I'm going to give each season a different thumbnail, like art, like a different, like, I don't know, like skin, I guess, if you will, or something different. And with the next episode being episode 10, which would be the last of this, I've already created the art that I'm going to use for quote-unquote season 2, or whatever you want to call it, the next phase. So every 10, I'm going to be doing a different picture for each season. That way you can find it easier. That way you can, if there's nothing else that you can grab onto, you can be like, well, I know it's one of these that has this picture here. So that's really the last thing I want to say. I'm kind of excited about that. At the end of the episode, I will put, if you're watching, if you haven't downloaded this or anything and you're just listening to it on YouTube, at the end of this, go make sure if you're doing other things that you go back, because I'll upload a picture of what the new theme, or whatever you want to call it, will be. So that's kind of interesting. All right. So the topics we have today are, and like, again, I'm not going to talk about all of these a whole lot. It's going to be kind of a shorter episode. It'll probably be ending up probably be the shortest episode that I've done, probably. So the topics are: the Beauty and the Beast official trailer came out, the Silence trailer, the news that Emilia Clarke has been cast in the Han Solo film, and the Cars 3 trailer, or teaser trailer. Well, I guess it's the same thing. So the first thing is the Beauty and the Beast thing. Now, I talked about this before on one of the other episodes, that the cartoon Beauty and the Beast is my favorite Disney movie of all time, and will always be my favorite Disney movie of all time. I feel it is a standard. Disney, you know how they say that sometimes it's just like the perfect storm. It's just like everything is perfect about it. They got all of the members of the voice cast were Broadway stars to some degree. You know, all of them could actually sing and could do these things. You know, Paige O'Hara and Robbie Benson and Jerry Orbach. You know, just everybody in this team, and you know, Angela Lansbury. You know, the list goes on about all the amazing people that were in this movie, and there's a magic to it. So, you know, when I heard the first news that they were doing a live action telling of Beauty and the Beast, I actually found myself not being all that skeptical about it. You know, a lot of my friends and family, they were kind of worried and stuff, but I was actually kind of excited because, you know, I knew Disney was planning on doing a list of all these rehashes or whatever you want to call them, you know, I was nervous a little bit. I mean, I'm not going to say that I was not nervous. It was a little bit because this is my favorite Disney movie and I want it done with justice. But, you know, I saw Cinderella, you know, and that's what I kept reminding myself. It's like, man, Cinderella was so good. And then I saw The Jungle Book when it came out. Oh my God, The Jungle Book was incredible. And then even I went and saw Pete's Dragon, and Pete's Dragon was great, you know, and I'm someone who loves the original Pete's Dragon movie. And they took Pete's Dragon to a completely different level and a different thing. It was simple, don't get me wrong, it was very simple, but they did something with that story that I wasn't expecting, you know, going into it. You know, when you hear Pete's Dragon remake, you think, well, haven't we seen that before? And it is definitely one of those movies, and a lot of people online that review say this, and I'm going to echo this as well. If you weren't a fan of the original Pete's Dragon, you're not going to be a fan of the new one either. But if you like the old Pete's Dragon, you should definitely see the remake, because it's really cute. It's really fun. So with Beauty and the Beast, I was like, well, they don't have a bad track record. I even like Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass. And I will defend Looking Glass at some point and Alice in Wonderland. I'll make a whole video on that. I'm not saying they're perfect movies. You're never going to hear me say that. They are not perfect, and they definitely have their flaws. But we'll get into that some of the time. So with Beauty and the Beast, those are definite fears. So then those pictures came out first. You know, which, since the announcement came out, there were those, you know, the fake Photoshop pictures that a lot of people, you know, have up. You know, if you did a Google search, you know, there were tons of the fake ones. And then the French version that came out, which, can I say that the Beast and the French version and the Disney version look awfully similar? I'm just saying. Anyways, so, you know, when the official pictures came out, I really liked it. You know, I wasn't sure about Lumiere because I couldn't see his face. But that was my only complaint, was that as far as the style, as far as the look, oh, I loved it. And when that first teaser came out, oh, that giddy feeling inside was just astronomical. You have no idea. I got all the little giddy fangirl feelings and all of that. So when this trailer came out, man, I gotta tell you guys, I'm excited. I mean, there's not much more I can say other than this looks really good. It looks, I love the art design. I love the look of the characters and their object form, if you will. I was surprised at how at how incredible it all came together. And a lot of the complaints that other people have, I don't really have. The Beast didn't bother me. Um, you know, and maybe I'm just a little bit more trusting, or a little bit more. I don't know what the right word to put is, but there's a lot of people that saying that the Beast in the cartoon version was a lot more beastly and ferocious looking, and I agree. However, time out. This is a retelling, and I'm okay with it because this is just my viewpoint, and I just wanted to put this out into the ethers, if you will. But go into this Beauty and the Beast remake like you're watching a Guillermo del Toro film. If you look at this like you would Pan's Labyrinth or some of the visuals in, Hellboy, The Golden Army, the second one, I feel like it wouldn't be so much of an issue anymore. Pretend it's its own entity, if you will. Because that's kind of how I view it, Because I have to agree. If we're judging it based on the previous material, no, the Beast doesn't look beastly. But they're also changing a lot of the lore. They're adding stuff. They're fixing things that the first movie had problems with, like the math of the age. And I bet that's all going to come into play about why the Beast looks like the way he does, And that was my computer. So that's all I have to say. I'm really excited for it. Let me know what you guys are feeling about the Beauty and the Beast remake and the trailer and all of that down below. So the next topic is the Silence trailer, which just dropped like the other day, like yesterday or the day before. I am kind of weird when it comes to Scorsese and his movies. I have not seen all of his movies, but I have liked the majority of the films that I've seen that he's done. I will be honest, until maybe like a month ago, I didn't know anything about this movie. I didn't know it was coming out. I didn't know what it was. Nothing. And as I've talked about in other places on my channel, I am a fan of Collider Video. And I am a fan. This is not sponsored or anything. I'm just kind of fangirling over them. But, I'm a big fan of Collider Video and everything they're doing over there. And they were talking, about it. And I was like, they talked about the poster. And that kind of got it back into my consciousness and whatnot. And I think they talked about the possible trailer coming out and whatnot as well. And so it came out. And I watched it. And this movie looks really good. This is the kind of movie that I love probably more than any other. I like movies that make me feel something, that make me look inwardly at the person I am and stuff like that. And I hope that's what we get with this movie, because when you have a story like this where you have these priests going out to this very dangerous place and a very dangerous time to do missionary work. And as I've touched on before, I do come from a religious background, not, that specific section of it. But, so I understand the whole idea of, mission work and going out there and doing that kind of thing. And I'm really fascinated by that. One of my favorite movies to come out over the last few years was Unbroken, the Angelina Jolie directed film. And that movie had me in tears, and I hope that we get something like that, but in the style of Scorsese, I don't think he's going to milk things, or necessarily be touchy-feely, Because there are those movies like Unbroken, and I will admit that Unbroken is one of these movies, but there's movies that kind of, they know what it is and they milk it for all it's worth. They know it's a heart-wrenching emotional story, and they use that to its advantage. Whereas I feel like with Silence, knowing Scorsese and based on his other work, that he's probably going to take it more to the side of horror and, oh my god, I can't believe that these men are dealing with this, which Unbroken had elements of that, absolutely. But I don't feel like it's too. I don't think Unbroken had it to the level that sorry, I'm getting tongue tied. To the level that Scorsese could push Silence, and so that's kind of why I'm really excited for it, because I think it'll make it a really real thing. I think it will be, if done right, I feel it would definitely should be an Oscar contender. I'm already, like, over the next couple weeks, something I do at the end of the year is I not only compile my best and worst of the year and all that, but I also compile my own kind of what I want to see out of the Oscars. And I don't do every category, but I do, like, the main ones. I do the, both actors and both actresses, and I do animation and Best Picture and several others, and even without seeing it, this is probably a movie I'm putting in the Best Picture category, because I'll be very surprised if it's not there. And I gotta say, good for you, Andrew Garfield, because I haven't seen it yet myself, but my parents went and saw Hacksaw Ridge, and they told me it was great, and all the reviews I've watched for it says it's incredible. And at this point, I'm kind of curious if Garfield is going to get nominated this year, because he could possibly have two really meaty roles that he could be nominated for, and I'm really excited for that. But the Silence trailer, I had to watch it like 3 times to catch everything and to let the weight of the story kind of hit me. Because, to be honest, first time I watched it, all I could notice was, oh my god, Adam Driver is skinny. Like, they had him lose weight for this movie. Holy crap. It kind of took me off guard a little bit. So once I finally was able to stop that thought, I went back and watched it a few more times, and yeah, I think it's going to be great. I'm excited. So yeah, let me know down below what you guys thought of the Silence trailer. Is this a movie that you guys are going to plan on going and seeing? I know that if I can, this is definitely going to be one I want to see in the theaters. Absolutely. So the next topic is the fact that Emilia Clarke is going to be casted in the Han Solo film. And this one, again, I'm going to talk about very briefly, because we don't know that much, and I'm just going to basically give you my thoughts on Emilia Clarke as an actress, and what I think about the Han Solo film and on all of that. So this won't take long. I have seen Emilia Clarke in Game of Thrones. I've seen all 6 seasons. I own the first 5. I have not been able to get the 6th season yet. And I've seen her in Terminator Genesis. Or Genesis. Or however that one. So here's my thoughts. I have not seen Me Before You, or whatever the hell that movie's called. Those 2 things are the only thing that I've seen her in. So I don't have that much to go on, because I think we can all agree, let's kind of forget the whole Terminator thing, No, I'm kidding. I actually am somebody that did not think Genesis was as bad as everybody else said. It's not good. It's not good at all. But it's not that bad, It's one of those movies where if all we had was Terminator 1 and 2 and Genesis came out, I wouldn't necessarily be disappointed, But But I think it's one of those things because of Terminator 3, which I'm personally not really a big fan of, and Terminator Salvation, which I liked okay when it came out, but as I've watched it more and as I've grown up since it came out, I really don't like that movie. So I think with that, I feel like that's a big part of why Terminator Genesis gets all the crap. But I think if you were to look at it alone, yeah, the timeline shit is a little bit fuzzy. But again, that's because there's 2 other movies there that we should just get rid of. And the whole, spoiler, John Connor being evil. The fuck was that? So yeah, I kind of have to agree with a lot of other people. I love Emilia Clarke in Game of Thrones. Daenerys is one of my top favorite characters. But I haven't seen her in anything else. So, but in terms of what it is, I'm excited. I love Emilia Clarke. I love her in Game of Thrones. Like I said, I love her. I think I've watched tons of interviews with her. She's a sweetheart. She's a doll. So, I hope she's good. I hope they give her a really good role in Han Solo. I hope that she's somebody that we can connect with. Maybe see her on other adventures, depending on what her character is. That would be kind of cool to introduce a character that we could see in other places. But, yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I like her. I just... Genesis was a crapshoot. Nobody was good in that movie. I do feel like Clark was the best thing about that movie, but that really isn't saying much. And so it's hard for me to judge fairly, which is why I really just want to base her on Game of Thrones, because she's really, really good as Daenerys. Everything she's done with the character and how she's grown over all these seasons. So I would hope that she would give just as much care to whatever character they give her in Star Wars. And obviously, and this just doesn't just go for Emilia Clarke, but anybody in Game of Thrones. I wouldn't have a problem with them bringing over anyone from Game of Thrones and into Star Wars. I should be clear like that. I think Peter Dinklage, Isaac Hempstead Wright, Aidan Gillen, there's tons of people. They need to be in Star Wars and something. So, yeah, bring it on. That's my thoughts. I'm excited. I think that's a fair thing. I'm excited. So let me know what you think down below. So the last topic is the Cars 3 teaser. So looks like this episode is going to be just as long as most of the other episodes, so that's good. I was worried that I was not going to give you a meaty episode, but me and Pixar movies. I have seen all of the Pixar movies. Finally. I don't like Ratatouille. And Cars is weird for me. Because I went and saw Cars. Actually, I saw both Cars movies in the theaters. I actually saw Cars 2 twice in the theaters. I really enjoyed Cars 2. Not a big fan of the first one, though. I'm actually opposite of everybody else. But I really liked the whole secret agent thing. I liked it because it was like a spoof movie. It was like a spy agent thing, and I thought that was clever. I really liked it, But I also understand why a lot of people didn't like it, because it was so out of left field compared to the first one. So I get it, But But let's be honest here. If you hadn't seen Cars 1 and Cars 2 was your first introduction to the Cars series, I don't think everybody would have hated it so much. And that's kind of how I feel about it. But Cars as a whole is at the bottom of the list for me. Like, Toy Story is my thing. I love the Toy Story movies. You could give me 100 Toy Story movies and I am ecstatic. I love those characters. I love what they've done with it. Toy Story 3 had me just in tears. Inside Out was fucking amazing. Just so good. Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, Finding Dory. I loved Finding Dory. That was a great sequel. So I knew next year we were going to get a Cars 3 movie, and I also knew that we hadn't really gotten a trailer, but I never really thought anything about it because I was like, well, whatever. It's Cars. I don't know if I'm going to go see it or not. It's Disney. They know what they're doing. Whatever, Because Pixar is actually one of the few things that I actually keep up on, because I can't wait for Toy Story 4, and I forget what's that other movie that they're doing about the Festival of the Dead or whatever it is. I'm really excited for that. But dude, Incredibles 2, like, for real. Like, that's the movie I want. So, I knew Cars 3 was a thing. So the teaser goes up. I'm kind of not sure what I think. And here's why. First let me give you the more positive take, which is I think it was bold. I liked it. It was dark. I did not expect them to do something like that with Cars when you consider all of the characters involved, but specifically Mater. I don't know what their end game with it is, but I thought it was ballsy. And if this isn't just a ploy to get us excited, and the next full-length trailer we get is just as dark and paints a really, I don't want to say heartbreaking story, but emotional story with these characters, I'm down. I gotta say, I'm down. This could be just the thing that the Cars franchise needs. Here's my problem. Here's the other side. That's what they needed to do with 2. As much as I love Cars 2, it would have been better for them to do reverse of what they did after having that first movie. Because look, even though it's not my favorite, because look, I'm somebody that I want to have all the Pixar movies on Blu-ray, so the Cars movies will eventually be in my collection. However, they're just, as far as favorites go, they're just not, they're closer to the bottom than they are the top, I don't hate the movie. I don't hate the first Cars movie. It's a decent movie. If I had someone come over and they were like, hey, you want to watch Cars? I'm not going to be like, ooh, no. So, it's kind of one of those movies for me. It's there, It's a good time, but that's pretty much it. So I feel like what they're doing with Cars 3 would have been better suited after the first one, because the first one is about this car who is all stuck on himself and cocky and arrogant, and he goes to this little town and he learns about life and being more humble and growing and all those types of things. And then you throw him in a situation like what we see in this teaser where, we don't know what's like. We know he wrecked, but we don't know whether he's making it out. We don't know what's going on. And I feel like that would have been such a better transition, because here's the thing, and I think everybody knows this in the back of their head. Number 1 is Disney. Number 2, it's Pixar. And number 3, okay, as ballsy as Pixar has been recently with some of the elements in their movies, they're not going full out, okay? Like, McQueen is not going to die or be completely demolished, if you will. That's not going to happen. But hear me out on this. If in the second movie you thought that just maybe Lightning McQueen was not going to be around after this first movie, that would be an element to take Mater on a growth thing where he has to grow, where the rest of his friends have to grow, and then after that, at the very end, because of whatever reason, insert blank here, because of that, Lightning McQueen is all better by the end of the way. He finds new parts, or he's different. Maybe he's blue now instead of red. I don't know, but you know what I'm trying to say. And then after that, you had a movie like Cars 2, like a spy movie after that. I feel like that would have worked better because you're emotionally invested in these characters, and it's great. And I feel like, it would show that Pixar was willing to go certain places with these characters. And I feel like as an audience member, most people would have been more open to, okay, well, this time around, they're doing a spy thing. Okay. But whereas when you have that first movie and, it's this kind of, it almost kind of read like an old, 80s movie, kind of like, a guy from the big city goes to the small town and learns a lot, I mean, that seems like a pretty typical story device that was used, in the 80s. And then you go from that to a spy movie. Look, while I disagree, I understand why a lot of people don't like it. I get it, it makes sense. So the bottom line for me is look, if Disney holds to this gritty type of story, or I'm down for that. I'm really down for that. I would give Cars another chance because I think Pixar has realized that they screwed up with what they did with these characters because of them being Cars, because of them being what they are, Pixar could easily use these characters to tell certain stories that they can't with others. And that's kind of the lost beauty of this, But the problem is these characters have already been tainted. And so it's going to take them, they either got to go balls to the walls with this and really trust that people are going to go see it. Because look, and this is the last thing I'm going to say because we're getting pretty long now, but another Pixar movie that came out the same year as Inside Out was The Good Dinosaur. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I loved The Good Dinosaur. By the end of that movie, I was in tears. But so many people hated that movie, did not like it. And it's another one of those things. Pixar made a major mistake because, they made two mistakes. I can say two different things that this will make sense after I spit it out. I'm trying to explain too much. Let me say this. Inside Out was a killer movie. So good on so many levels. The creativity of it, what the specific two stories that they were telling in this movie, hit it out of the park. Gone. There's a reason why, at the time, the 26-year-old me, for my 26-year-old birthday, or was it for Christmas that I got it? I can't remember. It might have been Christmas last year, but 26-year-old me wanted Inside Out. Okay? It was that good. For real. So you have a movie that's good, and everybody was excited because, hey guys, look, this is the first time ever that Pixar is releasing 2 movies in a year. We're really getting something special. And Inside comes out, blows us out of the water. So hey, Inside Out was great. Now look, now we get The Good Dinosaur in November. Woo! And then everybody goes and sees it. And everybody walking out kind of goes, meh. was alright. Dude. Yeah, I understand why so many people walked out going, meh, because it's a super, super simple story. But you're also judging like two completely different kinds of stories against each other. Good Dinosaur was great. It just so happened that it came out the same year as Inside Out. I think Pixar, what they could have done was, I wish that they would have released The Good Dinosaur first. Because I don't think that there would have been much of a difference. I think some people would still have walked out going, this is a very simple movie. But instead they would be saying, look, but it's still Pixar and it's a great movie, and if you want to take your kids or your family to go see, a Pixar movie, definitely go see this. Because then in November we would have gotten Inside Out, and then everybody would have been like, oh my god, amazing, right? Because it's cliche to say, you always want to end on the best note possible. And that way we would have gotten the appetizer with The Good Dinosaur, and then we would have gotten the main course with Inside Out. But that's not what they did. And so I understand why so many people were upset with that movie and didn't like it. But that movie is great. And any of you that might be listening to this that maybe didn't like Good Dinosaur, I really implore you to go watch that movie again under that mindset. Imagine that you hadn't seen Inside Out before watching this movie, because it really is good and it really has something important to say. Simple, mind you, but it no less important, because look, as much as I don't like Ratatouille, as much as I am not a huge fan of the Cars movies, at least me personally, there's always something that I can take away from Pixar's movies. They always have that message or that story. And so, in my opinion, it's important to watch all their movies. I even love Brave, okay? I loved Brave, okay? So let me know what you thought of the Cars teaser. I know I kind of rambled a lot more about Pixar in general than I did just the Cars trailer. But with it being so short, there's only so much I could really say. It's only like a 50-second trailer. So let me know what you guys think. This is episode 9. It's hard to believe that we're almost at 10 already. Let me know down below if there's anything that you guys would like to see as far as the channel goes. Because I'm really interested in that. Any of you guys that come here on a regular basis to check on things or to talk, let me know what you want to see, other than me uploading more. I know, I need to, I know. But other than that, if there's anything that you want to see, let me know. Do you want to see me do video game reviews? Do you want to see me, I don't know, just whatever, anything. Just, anything, because this whole thing is really important to me, and I want to make that known. And so I'm always willing to grow and learn and change, and I have no problem with trying something, and if it doesn't work, then oh well, so don't be afraid to suggest something, because I will weigh it against what means I have, and if it's something that I can try, I'll do it. And if it works great, I will totally give you credit for it. Absolutely. So yeah. I'm gonna end it there. If you made it this far and you listened to the whole thing, or even if you didn't listen to the whole thing, if you skipped the beginning part and you made it here, thank you so much for listening. If you're not subscribed and you happen to just find this scrolling through YouTube, please do me a solid and subscribe. That would mean the absolute world to me. you know, as probably some of my other subscribers will tell you, I don't subscribe that regularly, even though I need to and I want to. But I do post, and, you know, I will tell you for sure that I will be doing a Rogue One review the day of, that will come out the day of Rogue One coming out. I might even post some other smaller videos on YouTube. And also make sure to pay attention to my Instagram and Twitter, because there might be something there. So without further ado, I'm going to say goodbye and good night. I'm going to bed because it's almost 3 a.m. I'm tired. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. See you guys next time. Peace out.